The appeal of having a world leader on a late-night talk show like Stephen Colbert's is you get to see them in a very different light. It's usually unserious.
What is fishy kisses? Is that when you kiss someone with a mouthful of sushi? What is...
It's off the cuff, a bit unpredictable, except when Justin Trudeau appeared on Colbert. Virtually every answer Trudeau gave to Colbert's questions, he's given before.
That phrase, even in Canada, I mean, we're not some magical place of unicorns and rainbows all the time.
We're not some magical place that is immune to the kinds of forces that, that people have seen.
And while Trudeau's answers might feel off the cuff to some, they're actually quite a practiced and premeditated set of tools in a toolbox that Trudeau knows very well.
You can copy and paste some of the things that he said on the show last night are exactly things that we've heard from him here over the past number of years.
So the very first question was just a bit of banter about what Colbert should call Trudeau.
Mr. Prime Minister, is that basically it? That's the formal way of doing it?
Prime Minister, yeah.
Prime Minister.
But then the real first question puts Trudeau slightly on the spot.
I hear really good things about Canada. Sell me.
So this is a bit of an awkward question to receive because of how broad it is, right? It's kind of like the prime ministerial version of tell me about yourself. Like, where do I start? I'm a Sagittarius. And you can see Trudeau is caught off guard a bit. Then he figures it out.
Canada's the best country in the world. I mean, you see the scenes, like the beautiful mountains, the rivers, the lakes. The thing is that, everyone focuses on the land, but really Canada's about the people.
So you see the move here, right? Because even as a Canadian myself, like if someone asked me what makes Canada great, the very first thing that my mind turns to is the great outdoors. I love the water. I love camping. I love to hike. I snowboard. But Trudeau rises above this cliche by giving the answer that people expect and then turning it on its head into something more politically helpful. This is especially useful on Canada Day in both official languages.
Notre pays possède des ressources essentielles et des paysages magnifiques. Mais ce qui fait vraiment notre force, c'est vous, c'est les gens.
And with Colbert, Trudeau parlays this opening into a topic that does speak directly to Canadians, and that topic is diversity.
It's a range of people from every possible background who come together, and a little different from the melting pot in the United States where everyone gets to be American.
And this is familiar ground for Trudeau. It almost became something of a slogan for him, especially in the years after first becoming Prime Minister.
Diversity is and must be a source of strength.
Differences are not a source of weakness, but a source of strength.
Diversity has been a source of richness, of depth, of strength. Diversity is our strength.
He likes to kind of tout sort of a big L liberal vision of Canada where we're a vision they mostly created, right? Where there's ethnic harmony, people come here and they're able to maintain that sort of identity while also integrating into Canada.
At one point, Colbert makes a joke about opposition leader Pierre Poilievre being Canada's version of Donald Trump.
Even in Canada, your Conservative Party leader, your opponent there, has been called Canada's Trump. And I'm sorry about that. And
Trudeau doesn't take the bait. He doesn't really respond to that. But then the question pivots to this.
Far-right xenophobia might grow in a country even as polite as Canada. Why do you think this is getting a foothold even in your country?
And Trudeau answers with a line that he's used many times before.
See, that phrase, even in Canada, I mean, we're not some magical place of unicorns and rainbows all the time.
Canada's not a magical place that is some sort of unicorn. We're not some magical place that is immune to the kinds of forces that that people have seen. Canada is not some magical place where everything works and everyone's nice to each other all the time.
And this ultimately takes the edge off of the question, allowing Trudeau to talk about how all of his government's victories were hard-won.
We've moved forward on world-leading fight against climate change with a price on pollution. We're moving forward with dental care.
I think the Prime Minister wants people to give him credit for some of the things that have happened on his watch, that it's not just because we're Canadians that these things exist.
He made the kinds of points he wants to make on the campaign trail. I think he's totally in campaign mode.
There are lots more examples of how Trudeau manages to make staying on message look quite unrehearsed, but there's one more I thought was worth pointing out. In media relations and crisis management, there's this well-known tactic called a limited hangout or a partial admission. And it works like this. If I'm cheating at cards and then you accuse me of cheating, I have three choices. I can admit that I cheated, I can lie and deny it, or I can do something kind of in between. So maybe I'll say something like, okay, look, I thought about cheating. I was going to hide the ace up my sleeve, but then I decided against it. The idea is to appear honest and reasonable by openly admitting to some less incriminating fact in order to shield myself from some deeper, more serious criticism. This is useful in politics too, because when confronted with a series of damaging statements.
Heading into next year's election, your party has lost some seats in Parliament. Your party is 17 points behind in the polls. And this week, your rivals are calling a vote to possibly force you out of office. What's their rationale? What would you imagine a reasonable argument for their complaints is?
Trudeau knows not to say, yes, I failed. And he knows not to say the polls are wrong. Instead, he does this kind of elegant jujitsu by insisting that the economy is strong.
Our economic outlook is slightly more positive than the United States right now on a macro level.
But on an individual level,
Well, that is a really tough time in Canada right now. People are hurting.
He's been talking for a long time about how things are really hard and, you know, the situation in Canada's macro economy versus the way that people feel at the grocery store is not lining up.
people are hurting. It sidesteps the question of responsibility by way of empathy.
People are hurting.
People are hurting out there.
There are Canadians out there really hurting.
Trudeau kind of relying on that that trope of saying Canadians are hurting, I know Canadians are hurting, to acknowledge that people are frustrated and maybe that he is partly responsible for some of the things that are happening, but also to say, hey, we're attentive to these issues, but there's only so much we can do because these are global issues.
Now, it may or may not help Trudeau that his opponents, too, use this line all the time.
People are hurting.
Canadians are hurting.
But it also probably doesn't do much good to hide from that fact either. Because even though with Colbert, he is speaking to an American hosting an American show, it is a show that Canadians watch.
It's clear that the show is quite popular in the United States. It's clear also that there is a Canadian audience for it. But does this actually move the needle for Justin Trudeau and the Liberals here in Canada at a time when they really do need to do something?
It's almost like he wanted to take the message, the same message, to a new audience who would hear it differently. And he's saying to Canadians, like, hey, look, other people would be happy with what we're doing. Why aren't you happy with what we're doing?
And Trudeau is likely banking on the fact that for many people who tend to tune politics out, this may have been the only time those voters see him in action. Something that, as we've discussed, can play to his advantage in more ways than one.